Hey, kids.
Hey, Dad.
What do you want to do today?
We don't know.
Do you want to go to the matinee?
No.
Do you want to go to the amusement park?
No.
Do you want to go to the punk rock show?
Yeah, let's go to the punk rock show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the All for One Golf Podcast, the grand opening. I myself am Sean Painter. I'm just an all-around guy who's here to have a little bit of fun. My co-host Brian McCurdy is the brains. He's the knowledge. He's an all-around fitness guru. Please introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Brian McCurdy. Thank you, Sean, so much for that exaggerated introduction. I genuinely do appreciate it. Like Sean said, I'm a golfer as well, a fitness aficionado, a 21st century Renaissance man, just a dabbler in all things, and excited to be here with you, everybody. And thank you for giving us a listen.
I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait to put the link out on the RGC app and just see where we can go from here.
Yep.
I'm super excited. And before we get into anything here, I want to plug something that seems to be very important to you and that you've kind of dropped on us this evening. You've got a book coming out.
I do. I have a book coming out. Kind of a lifelong passion project to get a book out of the things that I've learned and discovered over the last decade. They've kind of taken some different roles, and just last September, I finished listening to a different podcast, and called two of my friends one day, and I just said, "Hey, listen, here's the deal. I'm going to write a book, and I need you to hold me accountable to getting it done." And I said, "Listen, if I don't do it, I'll pay for you and your spouses to go out to a really nice high-end dinner." And the goal was to get it done by Thanksgiving. And through their support, and then through the support of the Random Golf Club community, it really helped me stay accountable into getting it done. That book should be live by July, and it's just it's 18 short chapters, 7 to 10 minute reads that are all filled with practical and philosophical knowledge to help you on the golf course, but then more importantly, how you can parlay those skills off the golf course to be in the best version of yourself for everybody who needs you.
Love it. Sounds great. And where would we be able to pick up this lovely piece of literature?
You'll be able to pick it up from bookbaby.com, from their website. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle, ebook. It'll be available on Walmart. It'll have a pretty wide distribution network. And then also through my website, which is thefairwaymanual.com. That's what the book is called. Also, the cool thing about the book is it is also kind of like a journal as well. So you'll be able to track practice sessions, track your rounds, lots of different areas to write notes in, and homework and everything like that. So it's not really just a book. It's a book that is going to live in your golf bag as something that you can take with you. And then, when you're feeling a little low, flip open a chapter, get that 7 to 10 minute read on, and just kind of get you back in a great mindset for going out and playing and enjoying a round of golf.
Oh, that's great. So it's not a continuous story. You can kind of just pick and choose a chapter and go from there depending on what you need that day.
Correct. 100%. Yeah, it's a little
Awesome.
bit like Harvey Penick's Little Red Book kind of situation, where you can just create and go, and 5 minutes of reading, get you charged up.
Awesome. I'm gotta say, it's really cool to know someone that's published like a legitimate book. I'm super proud of everything you've done in such a short amount of time. So
thank you.
Keep bringing it on.
Beautiful. I'm excited to share with everybody in this community and through the podcast. And really, like, there's this, I heard it in a podcast a couple weeks ago. It's called like parampara, which is basically kind of this. It's a yogic term of taking knowledge from one person and partly understanding it through your lens of your life, and then redistributing it to other people for them to understand. So I'm just super passionate to have the podcast is this 21st century second golden age of communication. It's never been easier to learn from other people, and I'm glad to be able to learn from you, the people who listen to this podcast and be able to redistribute what I've been fortunate enough to learn from others.
Super cool. I got this. I got the date circled on the calendar, so
Cool.
can't wait. All right, so we decided to jump on the podcast train like just a couple days ago, just because why not? So this is kind of the thing that I do, is that I jump out of planes. I kind of just get an idea and I 100% will just go for it no matter what obstacle is in my way. My dog is sick, so hopefully you can't hear that. So yeah, jumping out of planes. For example, last November, I drove to Seattle from Edmonton. It was about a 12, 13-hour drive to go play in a mad scramble. I've got a trip coming up with Brian here and half set Jeff from Breaking Bandon, the one and only.
Yeah.
Going to Pinehurst number 2, playing number 4 and 10, and Tobacco Road. So just because, why not? I live life for experiences. I may never write a book, but I like to bring the masses together and just do the most outlandish things possible. So
Yeah.
that's
When Sean sends you a message on Random Golf Club that goes, "Hey, what do you think about this idea?" You better understand that when you say, "I think that sounds fun," that means you're fully committed to doing it.
Oh yeah, it's game over. You have no choice. You're doing it.
Yep.
So,
but I'm excited to be along for the ride.
We birthed the podcast just out of thin air. So we're gonna keep this rolling as long as we have things to talk about.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of things to talk about, what is some of the goals that you want to accomplish with this podcast?
So for me, it's just redistributing knowledge, learning from others. My biggest thing that I'm passionate about in life is helping others with their health and fitness to live their best potential life for as long as possible. And, when you look at fitness and where that piece is in the modern professional game, it still fits in with the average Joe Blow golfer. Granted, we're not professional golfers. We're not trying to hit 325 to get further down the fairway so that we can win a paycheck on the weekend. But if we take better care of ourselves as human beings now in our 20s, 30s, and 40s, we're going to be able to play golf longer into our retirement age, be happy and healthy. And really, I love helping people and distributing knowledge. I've always been kind of an acts of service person. And so if there's something that we can do or say mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually to help people on this journey of golf, that's the thing that I'm most excited to get out into the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, I would love to share the same philosophies. I try to live my life as best as I can, but I don't have that kind of insider knowledge like you do. So I definitely look to people like you to keep me in line. For me, I just my biggest thing is I thrive on other people's enjoyment of things, their happiness levels. I like to just do fun things and involve other people. So I'm constantly berating people to come play golf, come do this, come do that. We've just like this. So for me, that's as simple as it is for me. I'm just an experience junkie. I love adventures. So anytime we can get one rolling. I mean, we've even got something kind of semi-planned for next year with possibly going to Wisconsin. So if you're on board to play a little Erin Hills.
Yeah, that sounds like fun to me. That was one of my favorite episodes of Breaking Series before Bandon came out.
For sure, yeah. I think we've got from the app, we've got Squatch, Robert Hausman from North Carolina, and Colton. He's from Wisconsin.
Fun. Yeah.
And I think we got a couple others who are kind of dabbling, so the wheels are in motion for that. So I mean, that's what we're all about. And I like to film my golf rounds, so we're gonna make a little breaking whatever of our own. Nice. We're going to do it in Pinehurst. It's happening. We're going to record as many shots as we can.
So excited and a little bit terrified.
We're going to have a good time. And I may have a celebrity cameo showing up for the Breaking Pinehurst. You know who it is.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I hope he's available
Yeah.
for all the breaking Pinehurst fans. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to be on this weird ride that we're on.
Yeah.
And I really would love to get the big dog on here. I'd love to see if Eric would ever jump on board. So
Oh
if
yeah.
if
Well,
he's ever listening, we're gonna get you one day.
politely persistent.
Yeah, we'll just go to his door, knock on his
Right.
door,
Yeah.
ring
We'll
his
show up in
doorbell a few
Austin.
times. Yeah,
Yeah. We'll bring our
we'll
microphones.
we'll kidnap him in the trunk.
Yep.
I mean, so I mean, hopefully that's the goal. But we're gonna hopefully include as many RGC members as well to get in
Yep.
on this and
Well,
share
and I,
their experiences. And
yep. Building a community of 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 golfers. I mean, there's so many, and I think you know this from playing with so many random people just on a golf course. I mean, I have met some just amazing people just randomly showing up and playing golf with people. And those people don't always get the opportunity to share their stories and everything that they've learned and they've been through and why they keep showing up to play golf. So like I'm excited to highlight that in people and just give normal golfers the opportunity to get up and share the lessons that they've learned on the course and what keeps them coming back and what their struggles are. And maybe like for me, like I played golf as a junior, played through high school. I sculled my golf coach in the back with a flop shot, and then I quit for like 23 years.
I couldn't imagine. I get the shakes not playing for a week.
Yeah.
So I couldn't
20
imagine just leaving the game. I
20.
credit you for wanting to come back and then just
Yeah.
nose diving straight into
Yeah.
just
And random.
getting better and evolving yourself as a person because of it.
Yeah.
It's
Random,
incredible.
random golf club was a huge part of that. And like, it was interesting, like this week, like I, to me, like if you would have asked me last week, like when the last time the U.S. Open was at Pinehurst, my answer was 99. I mean, I just completely just missed two.
2014, one of
Right.
the greatest
Yeah,
stompings of all
I just
time too.
wasn't, I just was that checked out from the
Yeah,
game for so long. So it was kind of interesting to go back and go like, oh, other people have won this since,
right.
since,
Can you
yeah.
name that golfer who won in
I don't know
2014?
why it's gone out of it was Martin Keimer, right?
There you go.
But I knew that because of paying attention this week.
Could you imagine being -9 on that course though?
It it's well, I think what was interesting too was like looking at how they have reverted that golf course back more
Thank
to its
God.
wild nature in
Thank
from
God they
that
did that.
Bermuda rough and making it look like everything else. So like I love just natural washout areas. Just make a golf course what a golf course is supposed to be, ridiculously difficult. I mean, like looking at that versus looking at Valhalla and then looking at Augusta. I mean, like it looked more like a muni course. There was brown patches in the fairways, just dry. It wasn't that spit shined, polished golf course. That's just I think that if you didn't love if you don't love Pinehurst as like it should just be every U.S. Open. It should be every U.S. Open, and you just make a ridiculously difficult golf course and let just excitement happen.
I just love courses that look like that specifically, like Augusta and say Sawgrass or Pebble Beach are manicured to the
Yep,
nines. They look
yep.
fantastic. But if you go back and look at old photos of Pebble Beach
Oh,
when it was in
that
when it looked rough,
Jack Nicholas, and there's a Shell Wide World of Golf
yeah,
that's in color now from like early 50s, late, and it just there's like yellow like flowers in the fairway and everything. I mean, yeah, it just looks. You kind of look at it and you go like, I can't believe that it looks that rough, but it was a real golf course. It
yeah.
wasn't this perfectly everything in line in place kind of situation. And it's so amazing to go see that in person. But that's so far out of reach for what golf courses look like for the average person.
Yeah, I prefer the Pinehurst of now instead of 99, like sand everywhere and it just
Yep.
looks like it's been put through the ringer, but it's different in a good way. It's hard to explain, but it's rough around the edges is sometimes a good thing. And
Yes.
Pinehurst looks incredible the way it does now.
Yep. Couldn't agree more with that.
And it's the same with like when they played at Chambers Bay in 15. I mean, I played that course in November and it was incredible. It was the most fun golf course I've ever played. Not my favorite course of all time, but it's the most fun course I've played. It's so interesting. There's so many things to look at and different ways to play shots. It's not just driver, up, down, putt. It's
Yeah.
bump and runs. You're hitting low shots. You can hit high shots. I mean, it's a thinking man's course.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Create your own
what's
adventure.
it's kind of the same thing with Pinehurst because you can't just flop a ball on the green. We saw that with Rory on, I think it was 14 or 15. He was on in two and then he made a six.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Or um Cantley hit that really great at 17, landed on the front and rolled all the way off the back. I mean, just
and people complain that it's unfair and this isn't golf. I'm like, this is golf.
it is golf.
Yeah. I don't want because I remember, I think it was 2020 when they had the Masters in November and Augusta was playing like a sponge and people were hitting five woods 3 miles up in the sky and the ball would land, skip once and stop on a dime. Like, this is boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
Yeah.
the stuff I want to see.
Right. I want to see defensive, like, I mean, the way that 18 was playing out with Bryson up against the branch and the block. I mean, I haven't been that excited about watching a golf tournament.
There's no way you make a four.
No, I just was like, how is this going? How is this going to unfold? And I certainly didn't see Rory missing those two putts. I mean,
That's a killer.
it
I
was
mean,
hard to, like,
I feel for the guy, but at the same time, like, it's not the first time with him. And then the way he left afterwards, I'm like,
yeah,
the
that's tough.
Rory.
I think that there's a lot to be said. We have the distance from that emotional feeling. I'd
Yeah,
love to say that if I was shoe was on the other foot and I'm Rory, the person, that underlying person in me, I don't think I'm going out there and shaking his hand. I think I'm so distraught and frustrated and angry with myself that I likely think I probably would have done the same thing. But I mean, classy on Bryson to do that at the PGA. I
for
mean,
sure.
just that was a classy move, and that's like, I think we're in a position now. You got Scotty Scheffler, who's a good guy, a gentleman. Bryson, who's turning out to be that person too, and it's just nice to see some real, genuine people in golf.
Yeah, I know Bryson's got a bit of a reputation and a bad rap from people. Like, even me, like, I wouldn't say detractor, but he's just like, his personality doesn't fit my my vibe, my personality. But seeing the way he carried himself after the PGA, or after yes, after the PGA, but after the US Open, he's he stayed on site till after dark,
Late, yeah,
getting people to see the trophies. Give him the feel like this could be you one day. He especially went to kids doing that. I'm like, I've never seen anyone else really take the time,
yeah, yeah. Well,
and
and I
he's just
it's
becoming a
that's what
great ambassador.
correct. That's what golf needs. There was a moment too during the tournament where he was walking past, giving everybody high fives, and then stopped to sign a kid's hat in a wheelchair, and that was that was something huge personally for me, because people with disabilities and special needs oftentimes get looked past, and for him to take that time, that kid, that probably made that kid's life. And that's what, it's like, everybody wants the lens of celebrity looks great when you're on this side of it and you're a normal person, and all I ever want to do is be famous so that everybody loves me. And then you get onto that side of it and it becomes difficult because you're in the limelight. Everybody wants a piece of you. And that's incredibly difficult. I mean, I'm not a celebrity, but I could only imagine how difficult that is to deal with. And especially being, relatively young. And Bryson is such a analytical, I mean, like it's obvious, like he leaves no stone unturned when it comes to his gear. He questions what's going on, does the research, everything. Like I mean, I enjoy that stuff. I mean, he's got it cranked up to the nth degree in comparison, but
I mean,
it's
I like to say like he gets super annoying with it because it talks about it endlessly and his brain doesn't shut off. But I'm like, the dude just won a U.S. Open, so he's clearly on to something.
100%. Like I was listening to a thing they were talking about is salty balls. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I saw some tests with it. I don't know if I'm on board with it yet. I don't know how much salt you need, but I mean,
Right.
is it any different than that machine that makes it spin a whole bunch and that's supposed to get the center of gravity? Like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just
It's
bad, so
wild.
I can't really test all this stuff and make it
Yeah.
worth my
It's a
while. I'm just
little
not good enough for it.
it's pushed far, but yeah, I mean, I'm always proud. It's cool to see somebody evolve and change and work on themselves to become, the higher version of themselves. That's something that I love seeing that.
For sure. And I think, and it's as funny as it sounds, I think it was that rope incident that really turned him around because he got a lot of grief. He was a meme. Everyone was making fun of him for getting clipped by this rope. And ever
Yeah.
since then, like he's just done a 180. He's the man of the people. Everyone loves him. The YouTube thing's going off.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, there's a video with Rick Shields that where he's hitting shots to like work low point and compress the ball out of the bunker. And I was like, that's the best. What's interesting about him too is that as analytical as he is and an overthinker of things, he does a really phenomenal job of turning that down in those videos and being a great teacher, which is something that sometimes a lot of really talented golfers don't have that skill set to do. So I think that that's another thing that endears him to the audience. And then kind of being checked out from golf too. I forgot that when he won that first U.S. Open, it was in 2020. He didn't get that big pomp and circumstance and the big crowd and everything like that. So it's nice that he got that this don't go around. I mean, in one of the grandest golf courses in America.
and that was one of the best tournaments I've watched in quite a number of years. I think 22 St. Andrews with Cam Smith and Rory
Yeah,
going
that was
at
a
it,
good one
but
too. Yeah.
that was the Cam Smith show. Rory didn't play bad that day, but he could not, clutch
He
up
didn't.
and
He
make a
didn't.
putt.
I think he was 36 putts
Yeah, and he had a
that day.
two-shot lead, I think, going into that Sunday and couldn't make any ground. And
Yeah.
Cam Smith just stole the show. But that was a fun Sunday still. But besides that, I don't think there's been any other tournaments that come to mind that really got the blood pumping.
Right. I was pretty the Masters this year. It kind of had that feeling going in to making the turn to the back nine on Sunday. It was like this could get exciting, and then everybody kind of blew up. Everybody blew up 12 and 13 or 11 and 12. I apologize. And then it was just kind of you just knew Scotty
He
he
wasn't
wasn't
slowing
gonna
down.
give it up. So that was kind of and like I never wish bad stuff on people, but you just want that excitement and somebody to go in and chase after it. And it just didn't pan out. I had an interesting thought about something with Rory though, and it has to do with the parable of the Chinese farmer. You ever heard that one?
Probably not.
So it's kind of the story of like who's to say what is good or bad. So I mean, I think the big win for Rory is that we saw on Monday that him and his wife were going to try to had come to a reconcile and are going to work on getting back together, which is that's awesome. I mean, like he's got a small kid, nuclear family, that's like super solid, and really being a golfer on the road is incredibly difficult and lonely. So in that Chinese farmer story. Son lets the horse pen open, horse runs away. And then everybody comes to the farmer and he goes, "Oh, that's so terrible." And he goes, who's to say what's good or bad? And the next day the horse comes back with multiple horses, and now they've got like 3 extra horses. Hey, that's great. And he says, who's to say what's good or bad? And then the son gets on, tries to break the horse the next day. Horse bucks him off. Son breaks his arm. Who's to say what is good or bad? And then the following day, the Chinese army comes and they try to take his son off to war. His son's got a broken arm, can't go. Who's to say what's good or bad? So, maybe that missed. It's hard to say right now that Rory missing a putt maybe has some positive outcome from it. But maybe he steps away from golf for a couple of weeks, resets, builds that relationship, and maybe missing that putt is ultimately good for him in the long run. So I mean, it's I think we can all kind of use that parable in our lives and look back at things that we thought were just the worst thing in the moment. And then when you've got that time and distance away from it, you kind of look at it and you go like, hey, that thing that I thought was so bad ended up working out okay.
I would say you're pretty much onto something. I'm not sure if you saw it, but this afternoon Rory did pull out of the Travelers Championship, which I think is next week or 2
Yes,
weeks from
this week
now.
coming. Yeah.
So my guess is exactly what you just said. He's going to take some time, reflect, soak in what just happened, work on the marriage. Hopefully he can figure that out, because you need to be in a proper frame of mind to play these tournaments. And like you said, like it's lonely at the top, and I'm sure being a PGA Tour player and you're never home, you're never seeing your family, it's a lot weighing on you. And now he's just blown yet another major championship, because it's not the first one he's done this with. He could have 6, 7, 8 majors by now,
Yeah.
but circumstances seem to have bit him a little bit. So he could come back at Troon. We in Troon this year for the Open.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he
So
said he's going to come back for Genesis to defend that.
So I mean, we could be looking at a world eater coming up. You never know. Sometimes you need to get kicked a few times before you really rise up. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, a perfect example is, Bryson. Bryson was right there in the PGA, had a really good chance, and I made a good, closed out 18 strong and was ready to go. And, Sander puts it 2 inches from being in the bunker and pulls it off.
so I'm excited for the Open Championship.
Oof. Yeah.
For me, the Open Championship is my number one favorite major championship. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Getting up
Yeah.
early, the yellow scoreboard. Hopefully it's windy,
That's what I was going
tall
to say.
grass. You know,
Some wind and some rain.
I'm probably on my own little island here, but I don't rank the Masters very highly in terms of my major championships. I place it in third place. I love the Masters, but it's just it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. Having gotten to go this year, it, to go to that course and just be there in that experience. And ultimately, my favorite part of the whole day at the Masters is that you don't have a cell phone.
Yeah,
So you and everybody else there is fully submersed in that environment, just paying attention, hearing the birds, watching the breeze blow. I mean, granted, it's Disneyland for golfers and it's tough to have a hard day there, but everybody is happy. Everybody's talking to everybody. It was such a bizarre experience because there's so few places in this world that you can go where you're not being where your attention is not being pulled away by a cell phone.
for sure. Like,
And to me, like, that was just and I would pay money just to go walk that golf course with no one around. I mean, the golfing part of that fun, because I got to go Thursday this year. It was amazing. Saw Gary, saw Jack do the tee off. That was the highlight. And if I didn't see anybody
you
else
could
on
have
the
went
golf
home.
course all day, but I could have just walked around. I mean,
I hear you.
you
Like,
can feel that there's just so few places where you feel the history of a place, and It was awesome. That's a great golf course too to walk because everything's so close together and you just don't get the sense of, I know everybody says it, you don't get the sense of how hilly that golf course actually is.
I believe it. But like touching on the cell phone thing, I went to a concert and I had to like knock people's hands out of the way because like they were just their phone was right here. I'm like, why can't you just like hold it in front of you or something? Like you're it's but it's
Well,
like
and the question like, you take that video and then you go home and you watch it and the sound quality's terrible and everything like that. And were were you there? Were you there and present in that moment, fully experiencing everything that was happening and appreciating and feeling it? Or were you, like you said, phone up thinking this is going to get so many likes on Instagram and I can't wait to show that to everybody? And like what did you miss? And we're so pulled away from that by modern technology that our ability to concentrate and see stuff like when Thursday was that rain out at the Masters, they tried to get us to leave and I was like, I'm not getting out of line. And my wife went back to the car. I kind of hung out. A bunch of people left, and then there was a couple hundred people still standing there and we're just talking and chatting and just having a great time. And then weather looked like it was going to go real south, and then it kind of came around, and then this beautiful rainbow comes out, like full rainbow top to bottom. And it was there for like 35-40 seconds. It wasn't long, but I don't know that I would have noticed that if I was looking at my phone and trying to figure out what time I was going to get in and like communicating to everybody and sending pictures of like I'm at the Masters and everything like that. But just that feeling, because we didn't know what was going to happen. You see that rainbow come out, and man, it was just like I can still feel that moment in my life, and I think it's just so much better than any cell phone picture would have ever captured. And I'm glad that I have that deep within me.
couldn't have said it better. I've been to festivals overseas, and I like to get to the barricade. I'm a barricade guy for any concerts I go to, and my phone stays in my pocket. I might whip it out, take a couple photos, but other than that, it stays in the pocket. But if I turn around and look behind me, and I just see all these flashlights and screens, I'm like, what are we doing here? I understand like
Yeah.
you want to capture a moment, but like they're live streaming it. You could watch the whole show later with professional cameras and audio,
Right.
but
Yeah. And get a much better experience. Like be there in the moment. And I mean, there's so much that we miss by just trying to capture it, and it just doesn't translate.
yeah, I hope more places can adopt this because it's even weird like watching say like Tiger Woods goes in the trees and whatever, and he's got this crowd of 100 people, and everyone's just like this, and
Right.
they're just staring
Yeah.
at the phone. Like
Right. Well,
Tiger Woods, it's right
right.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife brought it up too. She's like, it's so weird to just see everybody with their phone there as like the primary focus. I think it's funny. There was that Michelob Ultra guy a bunch of years ago where everybody had their cameras out and he just had his beer and he was like smiling and just fully like embracing the moment and like present there. And it's like, who probably remembers that better than anybody else is that guy who doesn't have proof that he was there. Well, other than the Michelob Ultra commercials.
Yeah, it's a tough go with that sort of thing these days, but
Yeah.
but
But I
no,
mean, we can be punk rock and we can say, I'm gonna leave it behind. I'm just gonna embrace the moment, enjoy it for what it is, and see what else I can notice.
that's the other thing is I think a lot of places they cater to the people doing the whole cell phone thing. I mean, like the waste management is the one that really comes up to mind is
Oof.
like hole 16.
Yeah, I don't know, 16 or 17. Yeah.
Everyone's just going crazy and partying. Like, are they doing it because they like golf, or are they doing it because someone's like gonna put them on TV?
Yeah. Well, and I think that that is finally, I think we've reached the peak of that whole being out of control the way that it is. Which, and it's good, it's good. I mean, if it brings people into the game and they get excited about it and they want to play golf, I'm more the merrier. But also, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of shenanigans. But not to say that an earlier version of Brian wouldn't have been imbibing and going nuts on 17 if I lived close.
I mean, I can do with a little bit of shenanigans. I mean, like look at the Canadian Open where they have the one hole and it's surrounded by the hockey boards and the player or the fans are really close to the tee box and like they're making noise, but it's more respectful. Um, this dog of mine, he's got
Mm.
pneumonia, so
Ooh,
I'm really trying my best to mute out
mm.
his hack attacks, but
Yeah,
I'm failing miserably. So
yeah. Well,
hopefully
have
we
you
can.
ever listened to Rich Roll podcast?
I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to the EAL show, and that's really about it. And
Okay.
sometimes the Rick Shields show, but really,
Yeah.
I don't get into them very
But
much,
it's
which
always
is kind of
interesting
ironic.
to listen to, like, Rich Roll's huge, one of the biggest. And I mean, like now, like it's so polished, but you listen to that first one and it's like in a warehouse and it sounds terrible and there's all sorts of other noises. So it's like, I just feel like we're following in the
Yeah,
footsteps of, of, uh, of quality. And there's only one way to go from here.
like I bought this
Uh,
thing, but I didn't read the instructions in time. But
mm,
it's a foam box for my microphone, and so it's supposed to reduce noise. But I had to apparently put it in the bathtub first,
oh,
and so it can decompress. Because it comes in a tight little pack, so I had to stick
okay.
it in a
Yeah.
bunch of warm water and then
Mm.
air dry it. So it's in my bathtub right now.
Oh,
So
all right.
you're gonna get some spatial audio from my
Mm.
living room. So hopefully the next one is a little bit more quality. But I mean, who cares? I don't need to be
Content.
polished in order to be
Content
good.
is what's important. Content is what is important.
Yeah, hopefully people enjoy this. I mean, somehow we've managed to fill up 40 minutes worth of
Yeah.
time. So I think we're rocking and rolling. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, me too. What do we got next to talk about there, sir?
Oh, geez. Yeah, well, we got our Pinehurst trip. We've already kind of mentioned that. But I mean, if anyone's in North Carolina and wants to come, play the cradle or something with us, I mean, we've already got the tee times booked. We can't really add you in there. But maybe come play the cradle. Come get your photo taken with myself, Brian, and half set Jeff. He'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, getting to when we got to go to the Masters, Jeff was like, "Come by the house, come by the house." So, I'm like telling my wife, she's like, "Well, what are we doing?" And I go, "We're gonna go by half set Jeff's house," and she's like, "Who?" And I was like, "We're gonna go by half set Jeff. We're gonna go to his house." And she's like, "Some random person from the internet. We're just
Yeah.
gonna roll up to his house." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm like, I've messaged him a bunch. He's really cool. And Shay was just like,
We're going to get
I
axe
don't know,
murdered by half
I don't
set.
know, but I don't
Man
know
with a
about
hook
this.
hand.
And like we show up and he's just like so welcoming. His wife is amazing. Her sister was in town, and you just like the cool thing, like you roll up into Augusta and like the like they live for that in that town. It is just such a, I mean, obviously, like it's such a big event and they embrace it. And like, Jeff was like inviting people over for like the whole, like, come to the house. We're going to cook up burgers and dogs. And so, like, it was like 9 o'clock at night. We roll up to his house, hang out, for a little bit, and just was so welcoming and kind. And the stories that he had to tell us. And then, like, we couldn't find armless folding chairs, and like his neighbor lent them to us. I mean, just can't have enough nice things to say about Jeff. I mean, like, I'm excited to go play Pinehurst. I'm really excited to spend 3 days with both of you guys and for you to have that chance to meet him, because he's just, he's, yeah, he's 170 something, 170 something. It was 180 at the start of last week Thursday.
I got it right here. We got 175 days
Nice.
left until
Yes.
Pinehurst number 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you it would be worth a 3 hour drive just to come hang out and like have lunch with Jeff.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
I
mean, we're
hung out
pretty
with
cool
him.
too, but Jeff is next level.
Yeah, I hung out with him during the Masters. I did the Google stream of the final round, and he hung out the entire time,
Yeah,
and the day flew by. The guy
yeah,
had stories, and it was just incredible. I'm so excited to meet him in December, and obviously you as well. But I mean, we've talked a lot
yeah,
via webcam and other
yeah.
methods, but yeah, it's
We're
going to
gonna
be a
be like
blast.
BFFs by the time December comes around.
Hell yeah!
Mm.
So I'm hoping some people, and we're also talking about maybe getting a Saturday meetup. Maybe we do a scramble and a mad scramble thing. I'm not sure. We're a ways away from that. So,
Yes,
but it's
cross
been
that bridge
the tires
when
have
we
been
get
kicked a little bit by myself and Robert, and I think Thomas is the other
Thomas.
Charlotte captain. So
Yeah, yeah.
we might
He's a
get
cool
an
dude.
RGC meetup in Charlotte. So that'd be really sweet. And maybe there'll be a Tobacco Road. Who knows? Anyone who listens to this and is in the Pinehurst area come December,
You are welcome.
you are welcome. That's the biggest thing is
Yes.
I no one is excluded. This is for anybody, everybody. Play golf, don't play golf. I don't care. I'm just here
Yeah.
for a good time and to meet some sweet, sick people. So, what says you? You got anything else on your mind that you want to get out before we wrap this up, or
And pretty much almost every Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we do a weekly mobility hangout with the RGC crew. So that's always a lot of fun. It's probably equal parts stretch, strengthen, and us just hanging out and having fun.
doing
Usually it's
embarrassing
about
poses?
yeah. We don't record that, so you don't have to worry about it. You're safe and amongst
Says you.
friends. At yeah, no, I don't record them in RGC, and I am a TPI Titleist Performance Institute certified fitness instructor, and I'm finishing up FMS, which is functional movement system. So really being able to understand how your body moves and how that conversely impacts your golf swing. So that's what I'm into right now, and then just listening to different books. If you wanted to pick something up this week, on Audible or to read, I've been going through Ryan Holiday's Discipline is Destiny this week, and just a phenomenal listen. Really enjoying that book.
Love it. Well, it's been a pleasure. I hope we can keep this train rolling. I don't know if
Yep,
it's going to be a weekly thing, bi-weekly. They'll come out when they come out.
yep.
But I hope
And then
whoever listens to this enjoys it. Give us some feedback. We're fresh, we're new, we want to learn. So any feedback that you have for this, fire it away. We're
let
open to
us know.
listening. So
We
and
can't
if you
get better without that information.
and if you ever want to be on the show and join us and you know give us a piece of your mind, we'd love to have you.
Yep, 100%. I'm always super excited to you, but the more people that we can get involved and have a big collaborative conversation, and I want to hear people's stories. I mean, that's one of my favorite parts about going and playing golf. Like I was snuck out last week Friday afternoon, and pitch and putt course, and the guy's like, just go ahead of me. I'm old. I'm going to slow you down. And I was like, no, I want let's go. I want to play. And he was just so, I think he was kind of taken back by it at first, but then we just had such a phenomenal conversation about, he was an older guy and his kids were in their 20s, but just picked up knowledge from him, and I just am excited to learn from other people.
That's the beauty of life.
Yep,
Never ending knowledge, never ending seeking of life experiences and ways to
yep,
improve. So
yep. Pick up more things, pass along to others. I think to me that's the most important thing that you can do in life.
love it. Couldn't have said it better. And I think that's the perfect way to wrap up episode 1 of All for One Golf Podcast. It's
Cool.
been fun. So we'll see you next
Sometime
time.
soon.
Sometime soon.
All right, bye
Appreciate it.
everybody. Thank you.
Goodbye.